Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today it's a beautiful evening in September. We're already starting to see fall colors in the hills. Well, there's one little spot that has fall colors in the hills right now behind my house. But I wanted to take you along on a harvest tour of my food forest. Now, I live in Utah, zone 6/7, and I live in a very urban area. I'm only on about 1/4 of an acre, but I have quite a few different fruits that are ripening and quite a few fruits that I've harvested and some that are coming up. So I wanted to show you what I have. Now we're over here on my south side. This is my Chicago Hardy fig. Now I'll link a video above that shows the pruning job that I did on it. And the pruning job that I did on this tree and the one that I did on the others, there's a difference in what's happening with the figs. Now I'm gonna have to mess with the timing of my pruning and figure it out, because what I've noticed with my Chicago Hardies is by this time of year, my figs have gotten a lot bigger and they've started to ripen. Now a few have started to ripen. We have one right here. We have another over here. They're not completely ripe yet. Let's see if there's a ripe one. Now we have one down here that is completely ripe. So we're going to pull this one off. You can see that no milk is coming out of the end, so that means this is completely ripe. Now I'm wondering if the pruning job has made it so that my figs don't get any larger. But this is the only fig that this has really happened to, so let me go show you another fig where the pruning job was a great success. And here we have another one. So we have 2 Chicago Hardy figs. Now we're over here with my brown turkey, and the brown turkey is usually earlier than my Chicago Hardy, but this has been ripening like crazy. Within 2 days of me pruning this back, we've started getting ripe figs. The size is normal for what I've seen in the past. I've gotten anywhere between 6 and 10 figs this size off of this tree since I've done that pruning. So I've gotten a beautiful harvest. Now one of the issues with the Chicago Hardy may be that it's just still a little bit early, because this is still early September. And if I remember correctly, it's mid-September to the end of September before my Chicago Hardy really actually starts ripening on its own. So we've got a lot of figs coming on this one. Let's go show you some more figs. Another fig that has been ripening is my Ronde Bordeaux. Now I had been really worried that my Ronde Bordeaux wasn't ripening early enough, but once I did the pruning, we started getting a ton of ripe figs. Not getting anywhere near the amount that I do off my brown turkey, but we're getting a good amount. These are not quite fully ripe yet. I can tell because they're not soft enough. Let's see about this guy back here. This one might be a little bit early still. Yeah, you can see the milk coming out at the end. So that's a little bit early. Not way too early, but it's just a little early. Here's a beautiful one. Not quite ready, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Another one that I'm waiting for is my Latarula or honey fig, my Italian honey fig. The figs are large, but they haven't started ripening yet. Another one that may have stalled out. I don't know if it's the pruning or if these are just a lot later. Actually, I think these ripened last year in October. But anyway, hopefully we don't get a freeze early enough that it stops them from ripening. But this is my Negrone or Ronde Bordeaux. So none of these have started ripening, and they actually haven't even started enlarging. They've stayed pretty much the same size. So hopefully I don't lose these figs. But another one that I'm really excited about, this is another ripe fig. This is the Marseilles Black VS. This is the first time I've ever harvested one of these figs. It's also just the second year on this fig tree. Got a few more down there that are not even close to ripening yet, but it's going to be fun to see what that one tastes like. So there's my fig harvest for today, and I've been getting a lot more than this every day. But the figs are not the only thing that are ripening in the front yard. Let's see what else we have. This right here is my almond tree. It's one of them. I have 2. One is a really tiny one, which is right over here. Let me just show you this one. It's a little tiny one. We had one almond on it. I harvested it and I ate it, and it was so good. Let me go show you on the other one. This tree right here is 3 years old. The other one is 2. And we've harvested 3 almonds so far. But if you look, it's split open. If it's split open, this husk, that means that the almond inside is ready to be harvested. See if I can get it open with one hand. When you open it, you have the almond seed inside. Now, I did learn the hard way that I need to go put this in a nice sunny spot, a dry spot, and let it sit for a few days. Once you let it sit, then it's ready to be stored. You want all of the moisture off of the nut, but I'm going to crack it open and eat it. And I do have to say, this is a Bounty almond, and the shell was really, really soft and easy to open. And the nuts were very, very delicious. So we're getting almonds. It's going to be interesting to see how many we get next year. Something else that we have in the front yard that is not ready to be harvested yet. Well, we accidentally pulled that one off because it split. But this is a medlar. Medlars around here in Utah, I have found through many years of mistakes, are not ready to be harvested till about December. They need to have several freezes behind them, and you just have to wait. I harvested mine in December last year, and that was perfect. I've also harvested them in February and had it be good. So I think I'm going to just try it again this year, see when they look like they're ready, see when they start blooding on the tree and on the ground, and that's when I'll harvest them. But we're going to have a huge harvest of medlars. This one's a Bretta's Giant. Another exciting harvest are my pawpaws. Now, I've probably harvested, I would say, about 6 of them off this tree so far, and I don't have very many left. The winds have been brutal on this tree, and it's been excessively hot. So I think it's been way too hot, way too dry, and way too windy for my pawpaw tree. I'm hoping next year it's going to come back a little bit better. We've been upping the water, and we'll just see what happens with it. But it has produced some fruit, and let's see if any are ripe. Now we have a fruit that's on the tree right here, along with a dead leaf and a spider web. But this one's not ripe because it's still hanging on the tree. We have to wait until they drop. Let's see if we have any that have dropped. So what I do is I just look down here. Aha! We've got one so far. This is the size compared to my hand, and I have small hands. So these are not huge pawpaws. Let's see if there's any more. We have a really small one right here. So there's 2. Looks like I missed one. That's too bad, but that was a tiny one. 3. So that looks like it's it for today. Now I'll link a video up above that talks a little bit more about my pawpaw trees. Supposedly pawpaws need a pollinizer. Mine does not have a pollinizer, and that's why I get so few fruits on it. I've got a couple of other pawpaw saplings growing, and I'm hoping they eventually start to flower and can pollinate this tree so I can get more pawpaws, because these are delicious. Now we do have more to harvest in the front yard. This right here is, let me see if I can find the ripe ones, because I did see some ripe ones on here. This one of the names of it is Peruvian goldenberry or golden currant. Got to look inside and see how yellow it is. It's yellow, so this is ripe, ready to harvest. These are a type of ground cherry or goldenberry, and the way to know when they're ripe, because they don't fall to the ground like regular ground cherries, is when the papers turn brown and crunchy and the inside is yellow. And there's another one down here, maybe 2. So let's pull these off. So 3 golden berries. Now something else that's ready to be harvested, and I've been harvesting a lot of, are my ground cherries. When they fall to the ground and they have this gorgeous orange color, they are so tasty. This right here is not only not ripe, it can give you an upset stomach if you eat too many of the green ones. But so I just wait until they fall to the ground. So I just wait till they fall to the ground and harvest them. There's quite a few more, but this is all we're going to get right now. Let's go show you what else we have. Now these are my 4-year-old Pluots. These are planted in the Dave Wilson Nursery backyard orcharding method, so I have 2 of them in the same hole, and I've been keeping their height down to about 6 or 7 feet tall. This one right here is a Flavor Supreme, and I already harvested one off of that one because it's only 4 years old, so this is the first year that we had Pluots on it. Absolutely delicious. And I'm very patiently waiting, maybe not so patiently, for my Flavor King to soften up. Once they're soft, then they're going to be ready to harvest. Then we've got a cluster of them down here that are not quite ready yet. Another one that's not quite ready yet, but it's getting close. This one, there's still a little bit of green at the bottom. I'm just going to give it a little bit longer. But these are Asian pears. This is a Shinko Asian pear. My stepmom's Asian pears are ready to harvest, and she's been harvesting those. But these, they just have a titch of green on them, so I'm just going to give them a little bit longer. Let's see this one up here. Yeah, we still got green on them. I want them to be really sweet. They're very, very crunchy, very, very delicious. So this is another one that we're going to get a good harvest off. This is a 4-year-old tree. Now, because it's a 4-year-old tree and it bore so heavily, I've had to tie it together because the fruit just weighed it down. I probably should have thinned it a little bit better than this, and I'll learn my lesson for next year. I just got a little greedy this year. As soon as the fruit's off of it, I will probably tie it all back upright and then let it harden in that position over the winter. Now up here we have Jujubes. This is my Jujube tree. I think you can kind of see almost every branch is as loaded as that one. But we're going to have a huge harvest of Jujubes. These are not ready, I think, until October, mid-October. They can go through a frost and be fine, but they'll start turning a russet color when they're ready to harvest. I like to harvest them when the entire thing is russet colored, not when they're green like this. When they're green like this, they're a little mealy and they don't taste that great. I've got a few down here. And these will probably also triple in size. They're usually, well, maybe double in size. Some of them will triple in size. They get a lot bigger than this. So it's still a bit early for the Jujubes. Now this is my maypop. The maypops are forming fruit. They formed fruit last year. And this year I'm not going to worry about them being green when it's time to harvest them. Last year was the first year we got a bunch of fruit on it. And I didn't know how to tell when they were ripe, and so I assumed none of them had time to ripen because they stayed green and they didn't get that wrinkly and the inside was really dry. But it tasted pretty good, and once I looked it up I realized that's what they look like when they're ready to harvest. We've got a new little one starting there. That's what they do. We don't have any open flowers because it's late in the evening, but the flowers are absolutely gorgeous. This one was open today and was really beautiful. Now, something else I've been happily harvesting are my pears. The pears have been absolutely fantastic this year. Been perfect, no blemishes. And I just wait until they fall to the ground. Once they hit the ground, and I'm not seeing any on the ground right now. I've harvested all the ones that have fallen. Once they hit the ground, then I take them inside and let them ripen on the counter. There's a huge one back there. But there's no real need to rush these along, and they've just been great. I've been dehydrating them and eating them fresh. So we have probably 8 or 9 left to harvest. Now back here, it's kind of hard to see. You can see one of the apples, but this apple tree is full of apples. It's my Jonah Gold, and we've still got about another month left before they're ready to harvest. These are a very late ripening apple here. And we've got my columnar apples. This one right here is a Scarlet Sentinel. We've got one apple on it. It still doesn't look quite ready to harvest, but it's going to be a good sized apple. It's still really green. And then these are starting to change color. This is a North Pole, but every year I harvest these way too early and they're kind of mealy. So I'm just going to continue waiting until they look a little less green. I don't know what color they're actually supposed to be when you harvest them. So if you know how to tell when the North Pole is ready to harvest, let me know, because I'm not guessing correctly. Now, I had a huge harvest of strawberries this year. I had 4 full gallon bags in the freezer, crushed strawberries. We've made, well, that one's been eaten on a little bit. We've had strawberry jam. We've just done all sorts of things with them. And now they're just giving me enough for a handful every single day out through this strawberry patch. I have them under my Pluots and just up and under my Ronde Bordeaux fig. We're done harvesting the Himrod grapes here. I know there are a few back here. Let me see if I can find some. There's just a few I missed. They're not gone. Look at that. And these are just so sweet and delicious. I absolutely love Himrod grapes. The raspberries are pretty much done. This is the last branch that is bearing any raspberries, but I have had raspberries all year long. Just enough to snack on. I actually had to go to a U-Pick place to get enough for raspberry jam. But there's usually about 5 or 6 that I can harvest every day. They're looking definitely worse for wear because it's the end of the season for them. My Concord grapes over here have probably another 4 weeks. Usually mid-October is when I harvest those. They're a great color right now, but I'm not smelling that wonderful Concord grape smell. When they're ripe, they smell glorious. Now this is another one of my grapes. It's a Swenson Red. It is actually ripe. They're actually ripe, but I am not going to harvest them for another several weeks. These hold on the vine really, really well, and the longer they hold on the vine, the sweeter they get, but they are actually really delicious right now. This is a seeded grape, and I like to mix it with my Concord grapes to make juice. Here's another variety. It's not, there we go. This is another variety that I am done harvesting. There's just this group of them in here right now. I've been leaving these so that I can harvest them one by one and just eat them. I made raisins out of them. This is a Cannabis. And we've got bunches after bunches after bunches of these. I had probably 6 or 7 grocery bags full that I harvested and made raisins out of. Also, my stepmom made juice for my dad out of them. Aren't they beautiful? Back here, we've harvested most of the nectarines. We've got a few left. These are still hard. I have a few that I picked already that I'll show you that are ripe. Plus, my last grape back here. These are really small grapes. They're Jupiter grapes. They're small because they are in the shade and they're shoved up under my nectarine trees. And the flavor is not my favorite, but they add a beautiful color to my grape juice. So I do wait to harvest these and then add them to my grape juice. Then we've got peaches. This is the O. Henry. This one is not quite ripe yet. Got another week or so. I think a couple of them have fallen off already. But we've already had a good harvest off my early Alberta. There's still a few peaches in here. Let's pull this one off and see what it looks like. Yeah, they're great peaches. And then here's a couple of the nectarines that I harvested. One has a hole in it, but we just cut out around that hole. Now I love to dehydrate the nectarines because they're extra sweet and flavorful. And then the peaches I have been putting in my freezer. And I'm also making fruit leather, combining them with some more of my strawberries that I have in the freezer. and it makes an excellent fruit leather. Now this is the back side of my Fuji apple. We have a lot of apples on it that are going to be ready to harvest in just a few weeks. I think 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm excited about that. Now I feel really blessed. This is what my fall harvests have been looking like. We get a ton of fruit. I've been preserving it and eating it, and I'm just so grateful that I have it. Now my harvests typically start around May. We get strawberries and raspberries, we get June berries, and there are things that I can regularly harvest through October. And then with the medlar tree, we can go through December with our harvests. So I absolutely love having an urban food forest. And I'd love to challenge you to find at least one new fruit that you can plant on your property. You can use fruit trees and berry shrubs as ornamentals. You can replace some of your tired old bushes with fruit-bearing plants. And then you can also have food to eat off of your property. So I would love to hear what you're growing. I would love to hear what's ripening this time of year for you and what you're doing with it. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful gardening adventure.